Hey guys, it's Katherine. I'm a certified law of assumption coach here with Create Your Future. And today I want to give you a guide on how to get yourself unblocked and also how to create more constant, consistent, and positive communication with SP. But first, I do want to mention that we are running a contest and you can find the details for that in the description below, along with a link to book one-on-one coaching with me. So, when it comes to getting yourself unblocked, the first thing to understand is that if you find yourself being blocked right now, that means that you actually created yourself to be blockable. And you also created SP to be somebody who is capable of blocking you and or wants to have you blocked. Sometimes, for example, SP could have blocked you because they didn't stand up to somebody who was trying to coerce them into blocking you. So there's all sorts of different scenarios in which this can happen. So the key here is to, first of all, intend that you know that you are unblockable, that everybody in your reality loves to communicate with you and they all love to hear from you. Everybody respects you and values communication communication with and from you. Second thing is to intend that SP absolutely loves communicating with you, that SP prioritizes communication with you, that SP also knows that you love communication from SP. There's another thing to look at here. Let's say that you created SP to be somebody who didn't necessarily want to block you, but they were coerced into it from somebody else. Well, in that case, then you could say that you created SP to be somebody who did not fully support your relationship unconditionally, and you created SP to essentially be someone who didn't really have a backbone, because if they did have a backbone, then they would not have allowed somebody to influence them into blocking you. So those are certain things to keep in mind. And I'm going to point out different points of view on this, and I chose to not share any specific success story today because I want to show you guys the different ways that this can appear for different people. And I intend that if you're listening to this and this is something that has been affecting your life, that this video is going to show you how you can create the communication with SP that you want. So another thing that can happen as well is, let's say that you do currently have communication with SP, but it's very limited. Like, you may text SP and then he'll take, or she, a full day to respond. So my question to you in that situation would be, what thoughts have you been having that create SP to not be texting you back right away? Have you created SP to be somebody who doesn't have time to text you? Have you created SP to be somebody who maybe is going through a rough patch and they're not emotionally up to a lot of communication right now? If that applies to you, that's when you intend that SP always prioritizes communication with you no matter what, that SP loves to speak with you unconditionally, regardless of whether or not they feel good that day or they're busy that day, that they always find a way to talk with you. You could also create that your SP's safe place, that you are the person who SP not only goes to first to share the good news, but also news that they're not happy about. That SP, always feels energized and rejuvenated and happy when they communicate with you. Therefore, they love communicating with you all of the time. There's other blocks as well that people can create. And for example, one of them could be creating that SP doesn't seem to be interested in communicating with me. So then my question to you in that scenario would be, well, why do you believe that SP is not interested in communicating with you? And for example, if your answer would be, I think that SP is bored by me. SP is not really interested in talking with me. Then the question would be, well, why do you believe that SP is bored with you? And the reason that you continue, for example, to ask yourself the questions, or I would continue to ask them of you as your coach is, it's like peeling back the layers of the onion. So, for example, we get the answer that you've created SP to essentially be bored by talking with you. And then it's, why do you believe SP is bored by talking with you? And then, for example, a response might be, well, I don't think that I'm very interesting. Well, why don't you think that you're very interesting? Well, years ago, someone said that to me, and I just took it to heart. So in that situation, that's when you clean house, right? And you say, no, that's the old story, but I'm stepping into the new chapter now. So in that situation, the intention would be that I know that I'm interesting, and I know that everybody around me loves to communicate with me, especially SP. SP tells me all the time how interesting they find me to be. Do you see what we're doing here? So you identify the reason for why you believe that SP does not communicate with you often, and then you find the positive opposite of that. And when you put the words I know, I believe, and I feel in front of your intentions, that greatly helps with removing a block, because you're literally intending in, you know this to be true. You know that this is how it goes. So let's see. Another scenario would be, let's say that you have created SP to not have you blocked, but you're not hearing from SP. And when you start to ask yourself the questions, you discover it's because, for example, maybe you think that SP believes that communication from them is not welcomed by you. Maybe you think that SP thinks that you don't want to hear from them. Maybe you've created that SP thinks that you've moved on and that now you're dating somebody else. These are all blocks that will directly affect the quality of your communication with SP. Could it be as well that maybe you think that SP has been seeing somebody else and you are worried about hearing that from them? And so you're creating distance in between you and SP as a way to sort of like shield yourself from having to hear this news that you are afraid of. Well, remember, in this scenario, you're the creator. You're the only person with actual consciousness in your reality. Therefore, you're the only person who gets to decide what the answer is. Do you want to create that SP has been dating somebody else? Because that's what you're doing when you're assuming that. The same thing on the flip side. Do you want for SP to believe that you're not available and that you're seeing somebody else and you're not interested in talking with them? That will directly result in SP not communicating with you and not reaching out. So that's, hang on one second, I'm sorry. I'm making a video.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I'll be out in a minute. Okay. That was my daughter. So what you do is you create the reasons for why your SP is reacting in a certain way. So that's when, for example, you create that SP knows that the line of communication between the two of you is clear and open. That SP knows that they are always welcome to communicate with you, that you are always happy to hear from them. And you conversely also create, SP only has eyes for me. I'm the only person who SP wants to hear from. SP doesn't want, I'm the only person SP wants to hear from romantically, right? So you're creating that SP only wants to communicate with you, right? Romantically. SP's not out pursuing other people. Don't create possibilities of things or explanations for example, why SP is not in contact with you if it's not something that makes you feel good. So that's the beginning, basically, in a nutshell, as easy as I can create this for you, of how to identify a limiting belief and you change it to the positive opposite. For example, if you have a block thinking it would be too good to be true for SP to pursue you, that's going to result in you, for example, maybe feeling like there's no point in you doing your intentions. Because why am I going to do the intentions if I feel like they're not going to go anywhere? If you believe that, that is a block that needs to be addressed. So instead of believing, for example, that something is too good to be true, that it would be too good to be true for SP to pursue you, now you intend that SP and you are perfect together, that you feel like everything with SP is moving along perfectly, that you know that you are both great matches for each other, right? There is nothing in life that is ever too good to be true unless you create that it is. That's why so many people do not pursue their dreams, is because they think that they're too good to be true or they're out of reach. And the reality is they're right there. You manifest things in life that, for example, it's the same process of manifesting that you find a penny on the sidewalk that you do manifesting that you and SP have this beautiful relationship. The only person who decides if something is more difficult than, if manifesting one thing is more difficult than manifesting another thing, is you. So if you have created that it's easy for you to manifest all of these other amazing things in your life, but your relationship with SP, that's the experience that you are creating for yourself. So you get over that hump by first identifying that that is a block and like a limiting belief that's keeping you from creating what you want. And then the next thing is to create, for example, confidence in yourself, that you know that you can have whatever you want, right? You say, I know that I can have whatever I want in life, regardless of circumstances, regardless of any limiting beliefs that I created, regardless of how difficult I used to believe that it would be to create this. I know that I can create anything I want in my life easily and effortlessly. You create the waiting, you create the difficulty of things, you create whether or not it will be easy for you to keep your thoughts in alignment with what you want. You're always creating the rules for your game. The only thing that you can't change is the fact that your thoughts are always creating. So if you have had trouble having faith that this works, that's when you create that you do have faith. So you say, it's so easy for me to have faith that this is working. I feel my intentions are working right now. I know that the law of assumption works. I know that all I have to do is think of what I want and I get it easily and effortlessly. I feel like the minute that I intend for something, it's already done and I have it. I feel like the path of communication between SP and I is free and clear. I feel like I am in complete control of everything in my reality. I feel powerful. I feel confident. And notice how in this situation, I'm not saying I am powerful or I am confident. I'm saying that I feel that way. So just building it in right away, right? I feel like I have faith. When you feel a certain way, let's say you feel like you're doing your intentions and you feel like they aren't working, that's actually that's like a stop sign that's saying, okay, wait, no, stop right here. Now you need to intend twice as hard. Don't let your limiting beliefs intimidate you into thinking that they are not overcomable. The whole point of, or not point, but the whole premise of a limiting belief is a belief that makes you believe that you are limited and that you can't have what you want. So their MOs is to show up as something that seems inconquerable. And your job is to conquer them. And the easiest way to conquer something is to see it as, instead of seeing your belief or your limiting belief as like this huge intimidating lion, it's a tiny little kitten. Instead of seeing your limiting belief as Mount Everest, it's a tiny grain of sand that you're about ready to kick away. You are in complete control. Do you honestly believe that you and SP are in no communication? Because as long as you continue to believe that's the case, you're going to continue to see that push out into your reality. So how do you change your belief? You change it with your thoughts. Your thoughts are always creating for you. And I know that when you are changing a habit, it can seem daunting because it's a lot more comfortable to do things as you've always done them. But you are literally rewiring the neural pathways in your brain. And so as you continue to affirm for what you now are creating to be the truth, you're going to notice that it gets much more easy to automatically have these thoughts. Thoughts, right, create feelings, and feelings create beliefs, I believe is how that goes. And so you can create just anything, you can create easily with your thoughts. And the more that you persist in those thoughts, they become a belief. And when you believe something, you don't have resistance. So that's why it is so important to watch every single thought that you have. You can do all the affirmations in the world and you can be extremely good at doing them. But then if you finish doing your affirmations and then you go on about your day and you aren't monitoring those in-between thoughts that you have and you slip back into the old thinking, it's kind of like undoing all of that work you've just done. So when you catch yourself slipping, you can even do an intention for this, right? I always instantly catch and transform any limiting beliefs into positive intentions. Always intend for what you want. Don't live in the old story. If you carry that identity as someone who is blockable, who is ignorable, who's forgettable, who's replaceable, that's what you're going to see push out in your reality, because you are literally giving those experiences, those awful experiences, permission to exist in your reality. Don't give them the permission. It's like you're essentially giving your power away to outside circumstances when you do this. And then it's, well, I've been doing my intentions and I haven't seen them text me. Well, if you're continually believing that you can do your intentions and yet not receive any results, that's the experience that you are currently creating. So you literally, right, go back to your thoughts and you focus on what you want, and understand that what you think will push out into the 3D. You cannot, I heard a phrase from a friend of mine recently, and it was, you can't lie to the universe. You can't lie to the universe. The universe always knows what you are thinking. So if you are continuing to live in the old story and affirm that to be true with your thoughts and your reactions, that's going to continue to push out. That's why you come back here, back to the drawing board within, and you think about what you do want to create. Does it feel good to think about being blocked and being ignored and the multiple reasons for why SP is not contacting you? Or does it feel better to think about what you do want the story to be and what you are creating? There's nothing good that can come out of dwelling on the negative. The only thing that happens is more negative comes out of that. So pay attention to your thoughts and your mental diet. And think about this, right? Let's say that you message SP and you haven't heard back yet and you're waiting for that response. You intend, I know I'm SP's highest priority with communication. I know SP loves to hear from me. And I know that SP always responds back to me as soon as they possibly can. So any second now, I'm going to hear from SP. So I intend that this inspires you guys and helps you. I tried to teach you how you can go within and identify your limiting beliefs regarding contact, because in my experience, no two situations are the same. And so we all have different stories that we create about the world around us. And so when it comes to communication, another thing too is, if you believe, I want to mention, if you believe that it's, for example, SP gives you the silent treatment, really quickly whenever they perceive anything negative from you that they don't like, then that's another block that's created. So in that situation, that's when you intend that SP is always patient and understanding with me, that SP always assumes the best about me, and I always assume the best about SP. It's as simple as that. So I would also, oh, one other thing I want to mention. If you think about communication from SP as something that is scarce, that you kind of have up here on the pedestal where it's like, if only I could just get a text from SP, and you think about it as something that's very precious that you kind of have to conserve, right? Or you know, you really get excited just hoping for one text from SP, that kind of thing, then you're creating it to also be scarce. If you believe that communication from SP is normal and natural, and that it's normal for you to open your phone and see new texts and missed phone calls from SP, that's the experience that you are ultimately going to have. So think about how you have been thinking about the concept of communication with SP, and then create that it's positive. So I intend that this helps you guys, and I tried to keep it as concise and yet broad for everybody as I possibly could. So yeah, and I want to say I love all of you guys so much, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'm so glad, to those of you that I've gotten to know, that you are a part of my life and that I get to be a part of yours. And it's a wonderful life that we have, guys. And let's keep creating a beautiful, beautiful world together. And yeah, so I look forward to talking with you again soon, and I hope y'all have a wonderful day. And yeah, bye.